The Advanced Camera for Surveys, the newest camera on NASA's Hubble Space Telescope, has captured a spectacular pair of galaxies engaged in a celestial dance of cat and mouse, in this case, mouse and mouse. Located 300 million light-years away in the constellation Coma Berenices, the colliding galaxies have been nicknamed the mice, because of the long tails of stars and gas emanating from each galaxy. Otherwise known as NGC 4676, the pair will eventually merge into a single giant galaxy. About 290 million light-years away, they began the process of colliding and merging.
NGC 4565, also known as the Needle Galaxy or Caldwell 38, is an edge-on spiral galaxy about 30 to 50 million light-years away in the constellation Coma Berenices. It is known as the Needle Galaxy for its narrow profile. It is a prominent example of an edge-on spiral galaxy. NGC 4565 is a giant spiral galaxy more luminous than the Andromeda Galaxy. It is one of the brightest member galaxies of the Coma I group.
In 1780, Charles Messier discovered spiral galaxy M66 along with its neighbor M65, both of which belong to the Leo triplet of galaxies. M66 is located 35 million light-years from Earth in the constellation Leo. Best observed during April, M66 can be spotted with a small telescope. Between 1973 and 2016, 5 supernovae have been detected in this galaxy.
Messier 106, also known as NGC 4258, is an intermediate spiral galaxy in the constellation Canes Venatici. M106 is at a distance of about 22 to 25 million light-years away from Earth. M106 contains an active nucleus classified as a Type II Seyfert. And the presence of a central supermassive black hole has been demonstrated from radio wavelength observations of the rotation of a disk of molecular gas orbiting within the inner light year around the black hole. NGC 4217 is a possible companion galaxy of Messier 106. A Type II supernova was observed in M106 in May 2014.
Messier 99 or M99, also known as NGC 4254, is a grand design spiral galaxy in the northern constellation Coma Berenices, approximately 15 megaparsecs, 49 megalight-years, in distance from the Milky Way. This galaxy has a morphological classification of SASC, indicating a pure spiral shape with loosely wound arms. It has a peculiar shape with one normal-looking arm and an extended arm that is less tightly wound.
The Andromeda Galaxy, also known as Messier 31, M31, or NGC 224 and originally the Andromeda Nebula, is a barred spiral galaxy approximately 2.5 million light-years from Earth and the nearest major galaxy to the Milky Way. The virial mass of the Andromeda Galaxy is the same order of magnitude as that of the Milky Way, at 1 trillion solar masses. The number of stars contained in the Andromeda Galaxy is estimated at 1 trillion, or roughly twice the number estimated for the Milky Way.
M63, also known as the Sunflower Galaxy, is one such flocculent spiral galaxy. Although it only has 2 arms, many appear to be winding around its yellow core in this image captured by Hubble. The arms shine with the radiation from recently formed blue stars and can be more clearly seen in infrared observations. The galaxy is located roughly 27 million light-years from Earth in the constellation Canes Venetici.
This stunning Hubble image was assembled using observations in visible and infrared light of M81. The galaxy's spiral arms, which wind all the way down into its nucleus, are made up of young, bluish, hot stars formed in the past few million years. Ultraviolet light from hot, young stars is fluorescing the surrounding clouds of hydrogen gas. The galaxy's central bulge contains much older, redder stars. It is significantly larger than the Milky Way's bulge. A black hole of 70 million solar masses resides at the center of M81 and is about 15 times the mass of the Milky Way's central black hole. Previous Hubble research showed that the size of the black hole in a galaxy's nucleus is proportional to the mass of the galaxy's bulge.
Messier 94 or M94, also known as Cat's Eye Galaxy or Croc's Eye Galaxy, is a spiral galaxy located in the constellation Canes Venatici. The Cat's Eye Galaxy lies at a distance of 16 million light-years from Earth. Messier 94 is estimated to contain 40 billion stars. The galaxy is receding from us at approximately 308 kilometers per second. Its main disk is about 50,000 light-years in diameter. But the galaxy has a considerably fainter outer ring that extends for at least another 30,000 light-years.
Spiral galaxy NGC 4631, or so-called Whale Galaxy, lies only 25 million light-years away in the well-trained northern constellation Canes Venatici. It is similar in size to our own Milky Way. A companion galaxy, the small elliptical NGC 4627, is just above the Whale Galaxy. Faint star streams seen in deep images are the remnants of small companion galaxies disrupted by repeated encounters with the Whale in the distant past. The Whale Galaxy is also known to have spouted a halo of hot gas glowing in X-rays.
Spiral galaxy NGC 4651 is a mere 62 million light-years distant, toward the well-groomed northern constellation Coma Berenices. About the size of our Milky Way, this island universe is seen to have a faint umbrella-shaped structure that seems to extend, left, some 100,000 light-years beyond the bright galactic disk. The giant cosmic umbrella is now known to be composed of tidal star streams, extensive trails of stars gravitationally stripped from a smaller satellite galaxy.
NGC 4414 is about 62 million light-years away from Earth in the constellation Coma Berenices. The outer spiral arms are considerably bluer due to ongoing formation of young, blue stars. This structure is typical of most spiral galaxies.
In the direction of the constellation Canis Major, two spiral galaxies pass by each other like majestic ships in the night. The near collision has been caught in images taken by NASA's Hubble Space Telescope and its Wide-Field Planetary Camera 2. The larger and more massive galaxy is catalogued as NGC 2207, on the left in the Hubble Heritage image, and the smaller one on the right is IC 2163. Strong tidal forces from NGC 2207 have distorted the shape of IC 2163, flinging out stars and gas into long streamers stretching out 100,000 light-years toward the right-hand edge of the image.
This stunning view of M101, also known as the Pinwheel galaxy located 25 million light-years away from Earth in the constellation Ursa Major, is one of the largest images Hubble has ever captured of a spiral galaxy. The giant spiral disk of stars, dust and gas is 170,000 light-years across, nearly twice the diameter of our galaxy. The galaxy's spiral arms are sprinkled with large regions of star-forming nebulas. These nebulas are areas of intense star formation within giant molecular hydrogen clouds. Brilliant, young clusters of hot, blue, newborn stars trace out the spiral arms.
This stunning Hubble image of M104, also known as the Sombrero galaxy, is one of the largest mosaics ever assembled from Hubble observations. The hallmark of the nearly edge-on galaxy is a brilliant, white, bulbous core encircled by thick dust lanes comprising the spiral structure of the galaxy. This dust lane is the site of star formation in the galaxy. The center is thought to be home to a massive black hole. It is located 28 million light-years away in the constellation Virgo, and with a mass equal to 800 billion suns.
M81 is one of the brightest galaxies in the night sky. It is located 11.6 million light-years from Earth in the constellation Ursa Major. The galaxy's spiral arms, which wind all the way down into its nucleus, are made up of young, bluish, hot stars formed in the past few million years. A number of sinuous dust lanes also wind all the way into the nucleus of M81. A black hole of 70 million solar masses resides at the center of M81 and is about 15 times the mass of the Milky Way's central black hole.
NGC 1300 is a marvelous example of a barred spiral galaxy. Unlike in other spiral galaxies where the starry arms curl outward from the center of the galaxy, NGC 1300's arms twist away from the ends of a straight bar of stars that stretches across the galaxy's core. Observational evidence suggests that our own galaxy, the Milky Way, is a barred spiral as well. It is located about 61 million light-years away in the constellation Eridanus. The galaxy is about 110,000 light-years across, about the same size of the Milky Way.
NGC 5866 is an edge-on galaxy that is tilted to our line of sight. It is classified as an S0 lenticular, due to its flat stellar disk and large ellipsoidal bulge, at a distance of 44 million light-years. It has a diameter of roughly 60,000 light-years. Hubble's sharp vision reveals a crisp dust lane dividing the galaxy into two halves. The image highlights the galaxy's structure, a subtle, reddish bulge surrounding a bright nucleus, a blue disk of stars running parallel to the dust lane, and a transparent outer halo.
Like dust bunnies that lurk in corners and under beds, surprisingly complex loops and blobs of cosmic dust lie hidden in the giant elliptical galaxy NGC 1316. This image, made from data obtained with the NASA Hubble Space Telescope, reveals the dust lanes and star clusters of this giant galaxy that give evidence that it was formed from a past merger of two gas-rich galaxies.
NGC 3079 is a barred spiral galaxy about 50 million light-years away, and located in the constellation Ursa Major. A prominent feature of this galaxy is the bubble forming in the very center. The supermassive black hole at the core has a mass of 2.5 million times of solar mass. It is believed to be about 3,000 light-years wide and to rise more than 3,500 light-years above the disk of the galaxy.
The Black Eye Galaxy, also called Evil Eye Galaxy and designated Messier 64, or NGC 4826, is a relatively isolated spiral galaxy located 17 million light-years away in the northern constellation of Coma Berenices. It is characterized by its bizarre internal motion. The gas in the outer regions of this remarkable galaxy is rotating in the opposite direction from the gas and stars in its inner regions.
These towering tendrils of cosmic dust and gas sit at the heart of M16, or the Eagle Nebula. The aptly named Pillars of Creation, featured in this stunning Hubble image, are part of an active star-forming region within the nebula and hide newborn stars in their wispy columns.
An emission nebula is a nebula formed of ionized gases that emit light of various wavelengths. The most common source of ionization is high-energy ultraviolet photons emitted from a nearby hot star. Among the several different types of emission nebulae are H2 regions, in which star formation is taking place, and young, massive stars are the source of the ionizing photons, and planetary nebulae, in which a dying star has thrown off its outer layers, with the exposed hot core then ionizing them.
NGC 6302, also known as the Bug Nebula, Butterfly Nebula, or Caldwell 69, is a bipolar planetary nebula in the constellation Scorpius. The structure in the nebula is among the most complex ever observed in planetary nebulae. The spectrum of NGC 6302 shows that its central star is one of the hottest stars known, with a surface temperature in excess of 250,000 degrees Celsius, implying that the star from which it formed must have been very large.
The Crab Nebula, catalog designations M1 or NGC 1952, is a supernova remnant and pulsar wind nebula in the constellation of Taurus. The nebula was the first astronomical object identified that corresponds with a historical supernova explosion. At the center of the nebula lies the Crab pulsar, a neutron star 28 to 30 km across with a spin rate of 30.2 times per second, which emits pulses of radiation from gamma rays to radio waves. At X-ray and gamma-ray energies above 30 keV, the Crab Nebula is generally the brightest persistent gamma-ray source in the sky.
NGC 2174, also known as Monkey Head Nebula, is an H2 emission nebula located in the constellation Orion and is associated with the open star cluster NGC 2175. It is thought to be located about 6,400 light-years away from Earth. The nebula may have formed through hierarchical collapse.
The Cave Nebula, Caldwell 9 or Shush 2 to 155, is a diffuse emission nebula within a larger nebula complex that includes a reflection nebula and dark nebula. This deep sky object is located in the constellation Cepheus and lies roughly 2,400 light-years from Earth. Sharpless 155 is an ionized H2 region, where new stars are being born.
The Eskimo Nebula, or NGC 2392, also known as the Clown-Faced Nebula, Lion Nebula, or Caldwell 39, is a bipolar double-shell planetary nebula. The formation resembles a person's head surrounded by a Parker hood. It is surrounded by gas that compose the outer layers of a sun-like star. The visible inner filaments are ejected by a strong wind of particles from the central star. The outer disk contains unusual, light-year-long filaments. It lies about 6,500 light-years away.
IC 4406 is a planetary nebula near the western border of the constellation Lupus, the Wolf. It has dust clouds and has the shape of a torus. Despite this, it looks somewhat rectangular because it is seen from its side as viewed from Earth, almost in the plane, too, of its equator.
The Rho Ophiuchi cloud complex is a dark nebula of gas and dust that is located 1 degree south of the star Rho Ophiuchi of the constellation Ophiuchus, at an estimated distance of 131 parsecs. It is one of the closest star-forming regions to the Solar System.
IC 5146 is a stellar nursery where star formation is ongoing. Observations by both the Spitzer Space Telescope and the Chandra X-ray Observatory have collectively identified hundreds of young stellar objects. Young stars are seen in both the Emission Nebula, where gas has been ionized by massive young stars, and in the infrared dark molecular cloud that forms the tail. The most massive stars in the region is BD plus 463474, a star of class B1 that is an estimated 14 times the mass of the Sun.
NGC 2346 is a planetary nebula near the celestial equator in the constellation of Monoceros, less than a degree to the SA of Delta Monocerotis. It is informally known as the Butterfly Nebula. The nebula is bipolar in form, with modest outflow velocities in the range of 8 to 11 km per second, while the center is girded by an expanding belt of molecular gas. The electron density of the nebula is on the order of 400 per cc. The ionization of the nebula is the result of ultraviolet emission from the binary companion.
The beautiful Rosette Nebula, aka NGC 2237, lies about 5,200 light-years from Earth in the constellation Monoceros the Unicorn, and is about 130 light-years across. It is an emission nebula, meaning that the gases that compose it glow as they are energized by radiation from local stars. The young stars in the nebula's center are gravitationally bound to each other. They are an open cluster formed together from the material of the nebula.
NGC 2264 is the designation number of the new general catalogue that identifies 2 astronomical objects as a single object, the Cone Nebula, and the Christmas Tree Cluster. 2 other objects are within this designation but not officially included, the Snowflake Cluster, and the Foxfur Nebula.
The Carina Nebula is a good example of how very massive stars rip apart the molecular clouds that give birth to them. The bright star near the center of the image is Eta Carini, which is one of the most massive and luminous stars known.
Round and planet-shaped, the nebula is also relatively faint. Planetary nebulae are created at the end of a sun-like star's life as its outer layers expand into space while the star's core shrinks to become a white dwarf. The transformed white dwarf star, seen near the center, radiates strongly at ultraviolet wavelengths and powers the expanding nebula's glow.
The Cat's Eye Nebula, also known as NGC 6543 and Caldwell 6, is a planetary nebula in the northern constellation of Draco. It is one of the most structurally complex nebulae known. It was formed around 1,000 years ago when a hot, bright central star expelled its outer envelope. It is sometimes also known as the Sunflower Nebula or the Snail Nebula. It lies at a distance of 3,300 light-years from Earth.
The Pelican Nebula is an H2 region, emission nebula, in the constellation Cygnus. Catalogued as IC 5070, this nebula lies right next to the North America Nebula. The Pelican Nebula contains an active mix of star formation and evolving gas clouds. An ionization front is gradually transforming the gas of the Pelican Nebula thanks to light emitted by young energetic stars. Over millions of years, this nebula will no longer resemble a pelican in shape, as the gas emplacement of stars will have changed.
NASA's Hubble Space Telescope has unveiled in stunning detail a small section of the expanding remains of a massive star that exploded about 8,000 years ago. Called the Veil Nebula, the debris is one of the best-known supernova remnants, deriving its name from its delicate, draped filamentary structures. The entire nebula is 110 light-years across, covering 6 full moons on the sky as seen from Earth, and resides about 2,100 light-years away in the constellation Cygnus, the Swan.